If you want to turn your Hermes agent into a high productive 24/7 AI employee that actually gets the work done, you need to give it a second brain. You see, now Hermes can already use tools and complete tasks, but the context about your work is scattered across calls, notes, files, and messages. A second brain fixes that. It turns all this scattered information into a system that Hermes can actually search and use. So let me show you the easiest way to build out your second brain in Obsidian, connecting it to Hermes, so every task starts with the context it needs. Alright, before getting into the build, give me 60 seconds because I need to make sure that you understand why having a second brain is critical when it comes up to using AI into your business. Because generally, the second brain is a context layer. The reason that you see people building crazy things out there isn't just because they're great builders. It comes up to the context layer they actually have. This is what we're gonna call a second brain in this video. And that includes a repository of all the information that the AI needs to actually output the desired result that you want. And for the purpose of this video, we're gonna be using Obsidian because Obsidian is really easy system to manage your files and memory. It's not necessary to use an Obsidian, it's just a file explorer. It's very simple. You can use any file manager or any approach that you want. Obsidian is just great to view, arrange, and link folders and files. But at the end of the day, your files and documents are on your computer. So today we're gonna do that. We're gonna collect all of them, that be transcripts, content scripts, transcripts from your call with the team, some SOPs, or translating those transcripts into SOPs for your team, whatever it be, whatever the documents for your business are, we're gonna take them and we're gonna build them into a solid second brain. And we're gonna build it using the help of Hermes. And basically Hermes is a harness, just like Cloud Code is a harness and Codex is a harness. You got my point. All of those different harnesses has their own flavor and their own way of doing things. And you might be wondering why we're gonna use Hermes instead of Cloud Code or Codex. Well, here is an expose that Composio put up comparing all of those different harnesses to each other. And we can see here we have Chemicode, Hermes, Cloud Code, Codex, PyAgent, and OpenCode. It compared them by success, so the completed tasks, and also the cost and other metrics. But as we can see, Hermes outperforms nearly every one of them. It outperforms Cloud Code, it outperforms Codex, and in terms of the price, we can see it's basically the cheapest one out here. And I will link the post down on my comment section so you can come and check it out for yourself. But this post right here shows just one of the reasons I've started using Hermes and that I'm doing this tutorial today. So there are two parts of the second brain. First, we got the pile, the archive. So basically this will be your files, documents, everything raw, everything that's on your computer. And the second one is the wiki. We can call it also the compiler. This is basically a concept by Andre Karpathy, which now works at Anthropic. And earlier this year, he put up a concept that is basically arranging your files into a wiki. So when your agent searches, it basically outputs insights and it doesn't have to search all of your files one by one. It just do it like a graph, like a wiki. Everything is connected and arranged to everything. So it's actually easier for the agent and it can output a lot of insights. And the cool thing is that you're still gonna have access to your archive. So for example, if you wanna pull a quote from one of your transcripts, you'll be easily able to do that. And the reason why we're gonna use the wiki is that generally it will use way less tokens. It doesn't need to go through all your data. And this will be all the memory files that we're gonna set up today. And don't worry, I'm gonna walk you through setting up every one of them. And for hosting our AI agent, we're gonna be using Hermes. Don't worry, I have a video how to set it up from start to end, so I'll link it up. And when you download Obsidian for the first time, this is the first window that you'll see. Here, just simply click on create new vault. We're gonna be using Obsidian to build our second brain, along with Hermes to host our AI agent and to connect those two tools. So for the name, I'm just gonna name it Hermes brain, and I'm gonna pick a convenient location. Then I'm gonna click create, and boom, we already have it. This here is basically your Obsidian folder. Obviously there's nothing here, just this one file, and we're gonna get started. Just one thing before we continue. You might be thinking, what's the difference between a memory and a second brain? Well, inside Hermes itself, we have this file called memory.md, and it's limited. There we have a limited store of documents and files. And also we have different memory search systems, like for example we have QMD, which basically indexes everything inside my AIOS folder that we just created for our Obsidian. It makes everything easily searchable. And the cool thing having a second brain is that you're gonna have both the raw data and the insight generated from this raw data, and they're both gonna be searchable. Now, having a memory system essentially for me is like a backup, because I might not have everything put in my second brain system. For example, there could be a transcript or some file that I just forgot to put on my second brain, and I would need to record that, and I'll record that for my memory system. But that's not the topic of this video. If you want a separate video for this QMD memory system, let me know down in the comments and I'll make one. Alright, so I'm in my Telegram. Here is where I've put my gateway to host my Hermes agent. As I said, more of that in the Hermes agent setup video. I've also set up Tailscale, which have access to all my computer files, so I'm gonna be able to build my second brain. Here is the prompt. I'll put it in a Google document link where I'll put in my description so you can check it out and copy it. And here we have path to vault, so the folder where basically we created our new vault. I'll go to my file explorer and I'll link it up. Now I'm in my Hermes brain folder. You just need to find the folder, come up here, and I'll copy the relative path. So I right click on the Hermes brain, and where was it? Copy Hermes brain as path name, this one. Then we're gonna come back to Telegram and just change it with this placeholder right here, like that, and that's it. So as you can see here, we tell it to set up the raw, wiki, digest, the heredity.md, parse.md, and task.md. And then here we have a little text for it. So write agentsmd at the vault root explaining the ownership rule. So I'm the only thing that writes to raw files. And then we have short text right here. Then write agentsmd at the vault root explaining the ownership rule. I am the only thing that writes to 0 raw and identity. Then the nightly compile job is the only thing that writes to the wiki. So if you haven't guessed yet, we'll have a nightly compile job. So we are gonna be using our usage throughout the night, so we don't waste it throughout the day, and everything that we have in the raw files and documents would be put in the wiki through our night. Let's click enter and see what it generates. Back to our Obsidian, we can see that the paths are already done. Of course, some of them will be empty, and some of them will contain very little information. It's our mission to fill them. One approach could be the prompt interviewing one. So basically you will ask your Hermes agent to interview you, so it gathers as much information as possible. Another approach would be, if you already have set up your files and folders, you have all existing information about yourself on your computer, and you've actually wired up Tailscale. By the way, if you want additional video how to wire up Tailscale, so the Hermes agent has access to your computer, your files and documents, and does the information about you, let me know and I'll also make a video about that. If you have it, or if you can provide all the necessary files, you can just provide the files here to your Hermes agent and tell to build up your second brain based on that documents. I won't do it in the span of this video. I just have everything set up, so I'll skip this part for now. By the way, for the model that you're gonna be using, there is no right and wrong. Currently, for my Hermes agent, I'm using my Claude API key. You can wire up your Claude subscription, you can wire up your Codex subscription. It's up to you. Every one of them does the job. The important thing is setting up your memory and your second brain correctly. Then everything gets easier. Okay, I told it to analyze all of my files in my computer. So it updated all of the MD files and everything basically. Now it's time to give it the context rule. So I'll just simply paste this prompt right here. And let's see what it does. Create context rule.md in my vault root and reference it from agents md as read first. So the rules are read identity md and process md before answering anything, then pull only the nodes that match the questions, folder links on one hop out, and cite every node used by name. If the vault has the answer, never answer from the training data. If the vault does not have it, say so plainly. When I say remember this, write it to the right layer yourself. Okay, so that means each answer and context it's gonna pull is gonna be referenced from the vault. Alright, it finished and we can see all the files that it edited and what the source nodes were used, the size, etc. Here we can see the total vault content and some more additional information. And we can see here in Obsidian we have the context rule, we have the identity, we have the project's task and everything else. And again, I'll help you to do the introductory feeding, but this is a constant process. You should always fill your Hermes with your memory and existing stuff if you want it to get better and to actually have the real and fresh context of your business. This is something you want to work on continuously because the more that you add to it, the more that you improve your system. And how you're gonna test it out? Well, by actually using your memory and second brain, by doing and building different things for your business or your daily life. For example, let's say you wanted to write a YouTube script for a new video. Well, if it doesn't output the desired result, that means that you have to provide it with more examples. You have to train it more until it does the job as expected. So as I said, it's a continuous process. Okay, now we're gonna implement some routing. So we're gonna put that in our agents.md, and every time we have a request, it will go there and answer, okay, where do I have to route this request? Is it in content creation? Is it in my transcripts agents? Where it is? Let's route it there. It will make it again more cheaper and easier. So let's head on to Telegram and put one more prompt there. Here is the prompt: add a routing table to agents.md. For each kind of work I do, list which files to read, which to skip, and which skill to use. Then create router MD next to it, holding the routing map for the whole vault, and add one line to the top of every folder's agents MD. If what you need is not in this folder, go back to the root router. Basically what it does is it configures our agent to go to the wiki and actually search the area that is relevant and not search all the wiki out there. So let's click enter and see what happens. Okay, now we can see what has been changed. So the agents MD has been changed, and also we added a new file called router MD. Let's go into Obsidian and see it. We're in Obsidian and we can see the new router.md. This is the routing map for our second brain. So we can see it has created the root files, the folders, so this is the folder map, and the topic map. So we can see when we say it needs to do a job, it can come here, analyze the topic map and see where this job should go into, which folder, which wiki area. Going into our agents MD, we can see that here it has outputted a routing table by kind of work, which is again same as the topic map, what kind of work goes where. This isn't something essential to set up your Hermes agent, but it's an, let's say, advanced strategy to make it easy for you, and second, optimize your token usage. So feel free to play around with it. I think it's something that definitely is useful. And I'll just pop up a new prompt here. So new rule: anytime I send you a voice note or a message that is just how form taught, transcribe it if you need to and append it to today's dated file from raw. So this will basically sort this in our raw files, and the nightly job will do its work converting this and putting it into our wiki. Let's click enter. Great, it has been saved. So let's test it out. Actually, we have our Hermes agent setup, and let's take this as an example. I will put my YouTube channel URL and we'll send it to save the transcripts for my last 5 videos into our raw agents MD. So later, when the night job runs, it can actually saves it in the wiki as insight. So I'll just put my YouTube link channel here like that, and I'll tell it pull my last 5 videos and save the transcript in the raw folder for processing. This is my channel. Let's click enter and see what happens. The cool thing about Hermes is that it has all of those built-in skills, which doesn't require me to wire up or install custom tools to be able to transcript a simple YouTube video. So we can see that now it invokes a skill that I haven't even added, which is pretty cool. Alright, it's done. Let's go to Obsidian and see the output. Alright, in raw we can see that we have all of those transcripts ready, so it did its job correctly. Actually, a useful thing you can do is just to copy the URL of this video, go into your own Hermes agents or some LLM and tell it to guide you step by step how to install all of this, and I think it will get you pretty close to the answer. Now what I want to do is to compile this manually, so read everything new in raw, file each item where it belongs, so facts about me into identity, task into task. So this is a simple prompt to do our nightly routine that would be automated now manually. So let's run it and again see what happens. Alright, we can see the output and it has created some new files, so the AI tooling nodes MD, and also it has rewritten some files. So let's go ahead in our Obsidian and see what has been changed. Alright, we can see in our wiki we have these new AI tooling nodes and we have some more context about my business, but this is the main part. So yeah, it has successfully compiled this into our wiki. So when we search for something similar that relates to this area, so for example those skills here, I have videos about them, by the way, you can go and check them out. It will take the information. And now let's convert what we just did into a reusable skill. So take what you just did and turn it into a skill I can run on demand. The whole path, reading everything, sitting in raw, working on what it means, and updating or creating the page it belongs in. Same steps, same source, same output as this run. Then I can point it at the raw folder anytime I want it digested instead of describing it to you again. And this will convert it into a reusable skill we can use on demand whenever we want. Well, it's done. It's converted already into a skill. The first time, by the way, it failed because the description was longer than it needed or something like that. I just tell it to try again, tried again, and it completed it successfully. We can see the skill is now built. Now let's continue with our initial setup of our second brain. So with this prompt right here, I wanted to create a folder for each part of my business. Here I've listed finance, marketing, operation, accounts, and let's do clients. Also, the cool thing is that you can change this to relate to your business, your life, etc. This will just make it easier for your second brain and for your routing to put things on the right places. Of course, you can always delete your wiki. Just make sure to keep your raw files, because when you delete your wiki, you can recreate it with your raw files. If something on your wiki is like trashed or dirty, or you just don't like the way it's initially built, you can rebuild it. Again, keep your raw files and the files on your computer, because this is the foundation of your wiki. Let's run this. Alright, it's done. So what we can do here is rerun our skill for the raw digesting. So let's see how it recompiles everything and how it updates our Obsidian and second brain. Alright, it ran and it says that nothing basically new is added, because actually we didn't add anything new to raw. But yeah, now we are sure that the skill works. So let's make it automated. Let's paste this prompt right here. And every night at 3 a.m. run my vote compile skill against, we need to put again the path here. Then at 7 a.m. write the brief to digest and send me the 5 bullet version. So what has changed, just report to me. So I've changed it to 3 a.m. Singapore time, because this is where I am. I've put my folder path right here, and I've added an additional sentence saying make sure to run the Hermes brain compile skill, so the skill that we just rerun. Let's click enter. Alright, we can see that both jobs are set up, so the nightly compile and the morning brief. And the coolest thing is that you can actually connect this to your cloud code, and manage it through there. Well, The possibilities are endless, and just think of the jobs that this can do. Let's say you have some code transcripts and you want to provide them to your sales team, and let's say one of your sales guys had 3 calls today. You just input them here, and you have a sales agent that can rate how your sales guys perform today, do summary, and do actionable insights, points for your sales team to improve. Like, the possibilities are endless, just you need to be creative. I think this is enough for this video. If you want to see me building something else with Hermes, let me know. This is for the initial setup, and of course, if you have any questions, let me know down in the comments also. As always, guys, thank you for sticking until the end, and see you in the next one.